where we speak with industry leaders to learn about their tips, tricks, roadblocks, and successes in an ever-challenging real estate market. On this episode, we are honored to have Katie Clancy of the Cape House at William Ravis joining us from Cape Cod. We will be discussing why Katie is the happiest person in real estate and how she has grown her business through civic marketing and much more. And also stay tuned towards the end where we're going to ask a very important question that all real estate agents want to hear. So here, let's welcome Katie. Welcome, Katie.
What's up, Joe?
Good to see you from
So
Cape
good to
Cod.
see you. Yeah.
I'm actually on Cape Ann, so the other Cape.
Okay. All
in
right.
Massachusetts.
Yes,
So-
I'm still sort of salty, if I may say, that you left, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, so
It's
for
okay.
Katie and I used to work together on Cape Cod, and Katie has really pioneered a lot of different things on the Cape that other agents still don't do, because most agents just don't do things that work. Well, they find their niche like Katie did, and she's done so well at it. And she's I'm hoping that if you're watching this, maybe you can take some of what she's doing and apply it to your own business. So let's first start, Katie. Why and how did you become the happiest person in real estate?
Well, I started by being the most miserable person in real estate. I got into real estate after I'd been teaching for a long time, and I was like, I could get into real estate. Maybe I'm like, oh no, I don't. My friend of mine suggested. I'm like, no, those people eat their young. This is not the kind of people I want to be around or be, looked at. And sure enough, I got into the business and took this class that made me go, oh my God, this is terrible. This is skeezy, all this really traditional, just hard sell stuff that really turned me off.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, this is bad. And at the same time, the entire world was crashing around us because it was 06, 07, 08, 09. And we all know what happened during that time.
Yes.
And so while I'm trying to get this real estate business off the ground, which I decided I hated, I was also trying not to lose my house, my marriage, my mind. Lots of really bad things were happening. So we won't emphasize the negative. Let's just suffice it to say I was not happy and really had nowhere else to go. I had burned all my boats. Like I'm real estate now, so I got to figure this out.
A minute.
So yeah, I was feeling really down and feeling really sorry for myself. All these terrible things that have happened to me. Oh, I'm going to be the girl that this happened to, that happened to, that happened to. And I was like, screw that. Oh, by the way, what's the rating on this? What's my language? What are my language parameters?
Yeah, let's keep it family.
I'll keep it PG. All right. So I won't use my real language. I was pretty flowery with my feelings about I won't be the girl that blah, blah. I will be defined by what I do in the world. And I took a little page for, going to church and watching things, whatever. The whole idea of being a good person, being generally good to other people in every word and deed seemed like something that worked for some people. So I thought I'll try it. So I will be defined then. I will be a blessing to everybody around me. I will be defined by that. And boy, it's a big chip on my shoulder. I was like, oh, where do I start? Because I'm so grumpy and mad. I started with my husband, who I was the meanest to actually. And I started being like, well, thanks for taking out the trash, whatever. And sure enough, over time, that relationship got better. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So what if I tried this on people I'd like to do business with or that I am doing business with? And I would look to someone say I was sitting with you, Joe, and we were having a listing appointment and I was listening to you and you weren't just talking about selling your house. You were talking about what's going on with your family and in your mind's listen, I need to change. I started tuning more into what was going on in Joe's life than about the nuts and bolts of selling the house. And I was genuinely interested. And when you're genuinely interested in a person, they become genuinely interested in you, or at least they have a very positive sense of you. It builds trust. It's not a tactic, though, and why he was going where he was going and all of his feelings about it. It made me understand him better, but it just made my business explode. People were like, we love her. And not only is she interested in us and compassionate and a people person or whatever, but she's damn good at what she does. So there's two pieces to it. You still have to be very good at your craft. But when you start by being focused on the impact that you're having and not on how many days till I can cash a check from this guy, people know it. They definitely get it.
And what is your business made up of? With your business, is it all referrals, or are you buying leads, or how are you?
No, remember, I was I had to build a business on nothing. So I couldn't have bought a lead if I wanted to.
Right.
So I had to build almost 100% on relationship. I'm trying to think if I buy any leads, what I like pay for actual, like I certainly don't pay any of the portals.
Right.
We know those calls we get like, would you like to double your business? Are you still in real estate? Like, oh God, I don't pay for any of that. So I guess I don't pay for any leads.
Yeah. I didn't think you did. I thought everything you did was organically grown.
It is. Yeah, it is. And that's so, yeah. So I became the happiest person in real estate because my entire business is based on making other people's lives better. My mission statement is people are good, we leave them better. And it goes into every word and everything I do. It goes into what I'm doing right now. Like I know Joe's got a show and I want to deliver for Joe because it's important to him and people are watching and I want him to have some good value. So I'm conscious of that. I'm not just like, oh my God, I'm on a webinar. How do I look? Like this is,
I appreciate that.
This is for you. And I'm grateful to be here. And I know it's good for me too, but like, this is about Joe today.
Yeah.
And so that is how I do virtually everything. And that's why I am so happy because like I make other people happy and then I get a little buzz.
Yeah. So let's talk about, I know one of the things you were speaking about, you've been on a lot of big shows, the NAR conferences around different events. You were at Inman speaking. You're well sought after. And I know one of the things you speak about is civic marketing and intentional civic marketing, but in an authentic way. Can you dig into that?
Yeah. The key word that you just used is intentional. So in what I describe my marketing, so civic marketing is a thing. When I first started, I told you I had no money. So I bought a book about marketing and it was called Off the Wall Marketing Ideas. Like I can be a little crazy. I like to out of the box ideas. So I was like, let's check this out.
A little bit.
So I looked at this book and it had all these, ideas. One was like, it's had this lady that always wore these different hats. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm the hat lady or whatever, but they talked about civic marketing. I thought that's kind of interesting. And at the same time that I was reading this book and trying to get my business going, I was noticing that the local business community here in Cape Cod was really digging into that local piece. So, and on Cape Cod, we're virtually an island. So we have a little bit of an island mentality. And honestly, I think that's kind of true for almost every community. You have your little, your dolphin pride or whatever it is of your little community has its own thing and you like to take care of each other. So there's this trend of that being brought to light, like local businesses being, I was like, well, I could help with that. I use lots of local businesses. I wonder if I could do it. So it's beyond the like co-branding or like shouting out a business on your social media, but that's part of it. It is, and for me, I have developed civic marketing to look this sort of 5 specific things that I do that anybody can do in any market that fall under that umbrella of civic marketing, which fall under the bigger umbrella of really giving without attachment. And it's really important that people understand.
Giving without attachment.
This is not a transactional thing. So when you buy a lead, you are looking for a return on that investment. I bought this many leads. I spent this much money. I expect to see this pay for itself by the end of the year. And that's how you measure it. It's very easily measured, which is why buying leads and all these things are such a good, steady business for these companies that sell them, because people are looking for something easy to measure, easily packaged. But what they don't understand is you can't avoid the mess. There's mess no matter what. You have to work those leads, and that's messy. I start messy marketing is my wheelhouse, and it's messy because it's human. And humans are hot messes. Like we're unpredictable. You don't ever know. We're not all the same. We all do things differently. But let's talk about the 5 things that we do that are civic marketing that come under all those umbrellas and philosophy of giving without attachment. And I think that if you want to like take a soundbite, be attached to the activity. So be attached to that. But then you can't be like, oh, it didn't work.
Well, that's like any marketing plan. You can only control what you can control, and that's the steps of what you have to do, your tasks and all that. And then the outcome is going to be the outcome from doing all that. So
there's no free lunch. There's no easy way. Everything is work. It's follow up. It's prep. It's understanding philosophy, all that good stuff. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. So the first thing that I did, or not the first thing, but I think it's the most important thing that everybody should do, is understand what your personal brand is. You have it already. It's not something you're going to create. I'm going to be like Osterville's top luxury broker. Like, are you even close to that right now? You might aspire to be that, but what are you right now? What's your wheelhouse? So there's a little exercise that I like to do with people. It's the 4 P's, the people. the places, the price points, and the properties that you like to work with, that you're really good at, that you're so comfortable with, you do a great job. If you could fill your pipeline with those people, prices, properties, and places, you would be so happy and so comfortable. So that's the 4. The number 3 is, what are the 3 words that you see most often in your testimonials? What are the 3 nice words that people use when they talk about you the most? And I just used one of the verboten ones. I do not want you to use the word trustworthy or anything around integrity, because if you don't already have that as a base value, what are you doing? Like, that can't be your like differentiator. So nice, trustworthy, and hardworking. We need to get out of those 3. What is it? Because everybody in this business should be all 3 of those. You should be a given. So what are you above and beyond that? Who are you beyond those 3 basic things? So 3 words that describe you. And if you're not sure, if nothing's really sticking out in your testimonials, or you don't have enough, or you're just getting started, pull out your phone and your significant other and someone else in your fair, someone else who just loves you and thinks you're great. They'll tell you what's great about you. So we get your 4 people, places, price points, properties. You've got your 3 words that kind of describe the best of you, 2. So we have 4, 3, 2, 1. What's the 2? The 2 is, open up your Instagram or Facebook account where you post, not the feed, but your feed. What do you post about? This is your personal stuff. What inspires you? What makes you want to go, oh my God, I have to share that? There will be a theme. There'll probably be 2 themes in there. I did this exercise with one woman and she said, oh God, cats and politics. She was like, how do I make that a brand? I'm like, hang on, my friend. It is who you are. You can't escape it. So the 2 things that start to show up for you will be part of what goes into your brand. And then the last one, the 1 thing is, what is the thing about you that's probably been true for a very long time that drives people bananas, but also they find kind of charming about you? My husband is so particular about everything and it drives me crazy. He is like obsessive and like, God, why does everything have to be perfect all the time? But at the same time, if I need something to be perfect, he's my guy. I can trust him to, like, if I need a task handled, or if like, oh my God, we have company coming over, can you handle the kitchen and I'll handle the bathroom? That kitchen is going to be done. You know what I mean? So like, it's like your blessing and your curse. It might've been the thing that got you in trouble when you were a kid, but now it's like a superpower.
Right.
But for some people, it's that, so you know what it is. So if you take all of those things, mix them up in a bucket, your brand will come out of that. And that's a whole other exercise so I do some media consulting with people and I help agents find out what their brand is. And we go through that exercise and we come up with a mission statement. But before you dive into any of this other stuff, we're going to go out in the community. You have to know who you are. And that is your personal brand. I recommend reading the book Known by Mark Schaefer. And I can get all those links for you to share with your audience. So once you have your brand, you can take it 1 step further and put some graphics to go with it. But that does not a brand make. Your brand is who you are. But things might just start evolving. And my company, William Ravis, does a branding feature with us where they take what you've decided you are and they help you turn it into something visual. You can do that with a consultant. But I think it is good to get a little logo or even a color scheme or fonts that associate with your name. And now you take that and you put that shizzle on everything. I put it on, like, I've got swag, I've got a van, I've got a car. That is like, pro level. You don't have to go that far, but your website, your social media handles, the way just your vibe should be visible and recognizable. And when you do that, you can do some really cool things with it. So if you have that, first of all, it will inform everything about how you talk and who you talk to and what properties you're going after and how people know you. And when you do it right, people will be like, oh, Joe, he's the guy who just like trips over himself to help other agent. He actually loves that. He is kind of a nerd about it, to be frank. And you are like, Joe, you haven't like done all these things that I've told you, people to do. And I know what your brand is because I know you. Right. And you want to make sure it's easy for people to understand who you are.
I think that's super important for agents that are trying to figure out branding, because there's so many people talking about branding. And there's people paying a lot of money for it. And sometimes, like you're saying, it's not truly authentic. It's not truly who they are. And that this is real branding. Everybody is a brand, whether they like it or not.
And your brand may evolve. Like, so
Correct.
you're working with first-time homebuyers now. Be the expert there. You'll get to luxury. Don't worry about it, but don't you start advertising like you're luxury right now.
Yeah.
First of all, you're lying, and people will see right through it. And second, you're going to get caught, and it just doesn't feel right, and it defeats the purpose. And people are like, "Oh, you wish."
Right.
Don't do that. Branding is not an aspirational thing. It is a real thing. It is something that you already are. So try to stick to that. Going big with it. I'm going to skip over a little piece of that. We're going to get to there's this whole collaboration thing that you can do with your brand, with other brands, but we're going to get to that in part 3, I think. The next thing, part 2, is you want to be a local leader. You want to be a leader in your community. And that means 2 different ways you can do that. You can be a leader in like local nonprofits, of which there are probably dozens that you don't even know about.
Right.
And you also need to show up in your local government. You need to know what the heck is going on in your community from a governmental regulatory perspective, just to know what's like zoning stuff. But ideally, you're really going to be involved. And we'll talk about what that looks like in a second. Let's talk about the nonprofits. Getting on a nonprofit board sounds like the biggest time suck in the world, doesn't it?
Yep.
If you get on the wrong one, it is. But getting on a board is giving of your time, giving in contributing to the community. And it's also a great way to get in front of the kinds of people you want to work with. So I know that I like to work with downsizers. Downsizers are usually retirees. And I know I want them in my town. So where are the retirees in my town? What cause do they care about? They happen to care about land. So I checked out my local land trust. And it turns out I was right, that all those people are there.
And you also care about land. It's not just right.
So here are the 2 very important things is one, you have to care about it.
Yeah.
You have to believe in the mission. It has to be a cause that you can get behind. There's probably no nonprofit that you don't think is a good idea, but it has to be one that you're like, no, I see why this is important. I agree with this mission, and I am willing to give of my time, my talent, and my treasure. And treasure is money. So you are it doesn't have to be a lot. When I first started, I did not have much money. So I would like find something I could donate. If it wasn't money, I would donate. And we'll talk about that more in a minute. So it has to be something you believe in. Also, again, if you're clearly there just to get the business, that will be completely transparent. You will be bagged and it will backfire and you will be known as a money grubber, not genuine person. Another pro tip is go to the person in that organization with the biggest mouth. It might be the director, or it might be just like the head of volunteers, or just someone who's just a chatty Cathy. And you go, listen, Cathy, I don't know if you realize, but anytime anybody does business with me from the trust or sends business from the trust, I donate part of my commission back to the trust because I feel like I owe them something because that's how we met. So, all right, you have to be satisfied with that staying with Cathy, and she'll never tell anybody. But understand that if you tell it to the right person, it could end up in the freaking newsletter.
Yeah.
Cathy's gonna be like, oh my God, that Katie, she gives part of her commission away back to the trust every time we do business with her. I didn't even realize that. That's so great. And I do that. That is what I do. I gave back to my church. I give back to 2 different other organizations.
Very nice.
In that way. So, all right, the other way to be a local leader is show up in your local government and take a stand. This is one that I think makes a lot of people nervous. Don't pick sides. Don't play politics. I agree with that to a certain, you got to be careful about what you do. And this is a very personal thing. But for instance, in my community, the biggest issue on the table right now is wastewater. And there are 2 opposing sides. One side says, if we put in a sewer system, it is going to cost us millions on millions of dollars. Our taxes are going to go up. Our town is known for a low tax rate. This is going to kill us. It's going to really devastate our folks who are fixed income. We're the third oldest population county in the United States. This is a really scary thing. I'm against it. Here's the other side that says, yeah, we have, if you see this water behind me, we have the single source aquifer. We are turning into a cesspool. Our drinking water is getting contaminated. Our recreational water is getting contaminated. We don't have a backup plan. We have to get sewers. How do you pick a side? Because they both have really good points, but you have to pick a side. And you have to realize that you're going to alienate potentially all the people who think opposite of you. But what about the people who think alongside you? They're going to congratulate you. They're going to reward you for taking a side, and they're going to say, hey, that person thinks a lot like me. I think I trust her a little bit more. You have to let go of the people who think differently from you. You're not, here's a note to take, but you're always going to be somebody's shot of tequila.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
Somebody's going to think you hung the moon all the time. Don't be afraid to go for those people. You want all tequila people. Tea's great too, but if your tequila people are going to be like, they're never going to leave you. So take a stand in your local government. Even better, volunteer. Like, absolutely. Be on a board. You're going to get known. You're going to get recognized as contributing. And if you get on your zoning or planning boards, please, that is the only way we're going to solve this housing shortage that we have. And by the way, it will directly benefit you. We will unplug this backlog of housing that we need to start turning over. If we could just get a little bit more affordable housing, we can get those entry-level folks and the downsizers into these houses that they need, this housing that they need. So planning boards is where we're getting all backed up. All right, so that's be a local leader. Number 3 is be a philanthropist. Oh, that'd be great, Katie. If I was rich, I'd love to be a philanthropist. How do I do it? I am dead broke. I am just getting started. What do I do? Now, if you remember in the beginning of this conversation, I was also dead broke. I started broke and got worse. So I don't want to hear about how little money you have. I had less. What did I do then to be a philanthropist? Well, you have 3 currencies you can give: time, talent, treasure, remember? And I know, listen, when you're broke, you don't have a lot of any of them, but you have to start somewhere. You have to, this is where the hard work stuff comes in. Suck it up, buttercup. Go volunteer. Give of your time. Maybe you can't give tons of time, but maybe there's some event coming up for the land trust and they need someone to go hustle for donations. Then go hustle for donations. Get them a donate. Get them one. That will make them some money. Like, oh, thank you, Katie. Maybe they recognize you in the program. Maybe not. One piece of advice I got from Jack Cotton, actually, who's local here, a luxury agent. He said, if you have a boat, which if you're broke, you probably don't, but if you have access to one or whatever, you can donate a trip on that boat where you cruise around your body of water and point out all of the real estate that's happened around that body of water from the boat. So it costs you whatever it costs in gas, which is also not very small, but it's a short ride and you can take people out. You've got them. A lot of times people will buy this as a little thing to do with their clients. And you've got like snacks and champagne or whatever on the boat. And you take them on and you tell them about what's all the real estate in the area. Now, they may never redeem it, first of all, FYI. But what they will do at the auction is, Katie, come on up here. So this is Katie Clancy. She and her husband have the Kathleen Mary, and they'll take you all around the Nantucket Sound shoreline on the south side of the Cape and give you a real estate tour of some of the most magnificent properties that have been sold on the water, on the ocean in the past year. How fun is that? You're standing in front of the crowd and they're like, boop, boop, boop. She's a real estate agent and she's really nice. You should call her, kind of thing. So you can give there. And up there, the next thing you can do is volunteer. Get into these events as a volunteer for free. Then when you're making a little more money, buy your own ticket, show up. Every year, you're hobnobbing with the same people and you're just moving up the ranks until one year, I was able to buy a whole table. I bought a whole table at this Arts Foundation event. It was like a lot of money. And I was like very fancy and I catered and I had clients and I was like such a big shot. And there I was with all the real big shots because of course I'm like imposter syndrome. What are you doing here? But I strutted on there and sure enough, don't you know, I ended up in the paper, didn't know I would, at the event, Katie Clancy, owner, blah, 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 blah. Like, that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Right? So the philanthropy thing can start at nothing and then work its way up to as big as you want to get. And a lot of these charities will have these like patron programs where you can pay a little bit each month, but it adds up to a lot. So you show up as a big donor just because you're not writing a big check. You're still showing up as a big donor. So in fact, I'm a member of the Audubon locally, and I call it like a $750 beach sticker because it gives me the permission to be on one of their properties, which is this gorgeous beach. And I was like, I hadn't renewed it and today's the last day. She's like, so our fiscal year's ending. Could you help us? I was like, oh crap. So I'm like taking pictures of my credit card. But they've got me on a sustainer program. So I'm not writing a check all at once. It's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. The 4th is did I talk about collaborating with businesses? No, I didn't.
You have not. That was one of my favorite things you've done.
Yeah. So this 4th one, I'm going to bunch a lot in here. It's business, real business collab. And the way this shows up is a few different ways. So co-branding with other businesses can take many forms. So the first time I co-branded with another business was actually on your suggestion. I just partnered with a mortgage guy. I was like, let's do a thing together. I was like, oh, I could do this with anybody. So there's this bar that I went to one time.
One time.
All right. I was there a lot. And we would go there, my partner and I, and celebrate our closings. And one time, couple drinks in, we decided that we would invent a drink with the bartender. And it was just us there. And we made up this drink and called it the Cape House Martini. The Cape House is my business name. And it was pretty tasty. It was like vodka, grapefruit, and muddled mint and some other stuff. Started with a vanilla bean. We got kind of fancy.
Very nice.
So she was like, actually, that tastes pretty good. Let's throw it on the specials menu. I was like, great, go ahead. And then I was starting to feel weird about it. Like, you know, I don't want to be that, like, look at me. I mean, I am like, look at me in a lot of ways, but it can't be just for the sake of looking at me. There has to be some substance behind it. So we decided that anytime someone bought that drink, I would give money to the land trust. Well, people love the drink and it's been on their menu now for 3 years. They've now done a Cape House 2.0. And then just every quarter, I just check in with them. How many did you sell? I read a checkout, cost me literally less than $200 a quarter but I'm getting all of this great mojo, promoting the bar, promoting the cause, and promoting me. And actually literally helping the charity get money for their cause. Yeah. So we've extended that out. Now we partner also with a local coffee roaster where, So we went over there, we developed a coffee blend that we liked, did all these tastings, very cool, by the way, to do a coffee tasting. And it's called the Cape House Blend. And we give $1 to the Housing Assistance Corporation anytime they sell a bag of that. So
can that be purchased online?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it can be. So I will also share that link with you so that
that'd be great.
So Cape House Coffee. So you can co-brand in those ways. I recommend that you tie it to a charity, because then it's a win-win-winity-win. And also, I don't know, if you ever feel weird, if you don't want to be that salesy person, it just takes that weight off of you to be like, yeah, I know I'm promoting myself, but I think someone's doing better than me on this. It's the people who are actually getting the money. So one of the cool ways that I've leveraged this business partnership thing is, so I work in a second home market where people are spending millions of dollars on second homes. You heard that right. Millions of dollars on second homes. What do you give those people for a closing gift? Like, I don't even know where to start. So I went back to, all right, well, Katie, I really focus on what is their pain point? What is the thing that this person, this family really wants? Why did they buy this house? Well, I know what they want to look a certain way. They're buying this opulent home for a reason. They do not want to look like tourists. That's for sure. They want to look like they belong. So when they walk into the sandwich shop, they want to be like, hey, Megan. They're like, hey, Kate, how's it going? Your usual? Yes, they want to be like a regular. So how do I make them a regular? It's called the Townie Starter Kit. Now, people in the South, I did this in Texas. They were like, what's a townie? And redneck? I don't know what you call it, but it's a local. It's a locals. Like, how do you blend right into the community so fast? I made a one sheet about 5 different businesses, including a little bio about either the owner or like the person that everybody should know there. Head bartender, whatever it is. And I said, go to each of these places, get whatever you want, and hand them this envelope. And they're like, oh, you're going to buy my lunch. I'm like, maybe, maybe not. So careful what you order. So they don't get to see what's in the envelope. But all of the business owners know that I'm sending people there. So when they go to, say, the candy store with their 3 kids, they go, all right, we're here. They open the envelope in front of Nancy, who owns the candy shop and knows they're coming. And in the envelope for that one, I put 3 $5 bills, one for each of the kids to go get penny candy, whatever they wanted. Oh, we love Miss Katie. That's so great. The next one was go to the hair salon down the street. And this is for only mom. Hand this to Suzanne. Okay, is Suzanne here? Suzanne opens it. Oh, mom, sit down. We're going to give you a blowout while the kids are at the candy store with dad. So on and so on. Send them to all these different businesses. What do you think they did? They're taking selfies. They're posting about it. They're thanking me. The business owner's like, you just sent me a multi-million-dollar client. Thank you very much.
Right.
And new customers for these businesses. Now these people, next time they walk, and by the way, if they go to see Suzanne and she's not there, now they have to go back to that business. So I'm sometimes sending these people into the doors of these establishments multiple times so they can redeem these, because you can't redeem it with just anybody. It has to be Suzanne. Yeah. So, and what have I spent on it? I think it doesn't cost me anything until they go in there. And in some cases, the business is very happy to cover it.
It doesn't, there's no cost to that at all. It's coming back to you.
It's totally coming back.
That's not a cost. And I want to say too, I know you're speaking to your market and $1 million buyers. Anybody can do this with.
Everybody wants to feel like they're at home. When they buy a new home, like, how do I get to know? Well, I'll tell you my favorite places. This is my favorite place to go get a haircut, sandwiches, blah, 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 whatever. And all those places can be in it. Now they've got, they're starting to build their community. It absolutely is good for everybody, no matter what. And it is the sweetest gift. Yeah, and it's so much better. It's the gift that keeps giving. And they continue to think about you, by the way. They don't use it all in a day. They use it over time. It's just a wonderful way to create relationship across so many planes. And I have a starter kit. I have a template for that as well, which I can share with you and people can use to create their own.
That's great. At the end of the show, we'll make sure we give everybody your contact information.
Yes.
You have a lot out there and you got to be specific to which one you want.
Exactly. I've got all sorts of links to share. And then the last thing that builds community for me and makes me known in my community is that I have a show. So this seems like a daunting task for a lot of people to do a show, a podcast, a webinar, a YouTube show, whatever. Tough duties, guys. That's how we build a business. You need to get on video. And that's where you should be striving to get is a blog. You can start with a podcast. You've got to get out there. People want to see your face. They want to know who you are. They want to get to know you. So I have a show with a colleague of mine called What's Good, Cape Cod, where we show people the Cape through a couple of locals, through the eyes of a couple of locals. This applies to anywhere. It is absolutely universal. And each week we tell people about a person, a place, and a thing that we think they should know about. So it could be one week we did a historical figure, Mercy Otis Warren. We didn't even know she lived here. She was like this revolutionary for her time. And she was right here in Cape Cod. Another time we did Brian Carey. He's been on the Dennis Yarmouth Regional School District Committee for over 20 years. The guy's put up with more garbage, but he's helped see that district through so many changes. And he's just been this steward of his job and just like what a rock star behind the scenes guy. So we're not talking about these famous people. We're talking about, citizens. Like if you know about these people, you know about the Cape. It's not just what you might see in the magazine or the Chamber of Commerce. And same thing goes for places. Yes, we'll talk about establishments, but there'll be kind of quirky ones sometimes or stuff you might not know about. And
you get to the people that built those businesses too. It's more not just about, it's about the people that built it, which is always
yeah. When we go on site we definitely get into the people.
What I think is super unique about that show is the woman is just a competitor. She's in a different company. She's a realtor. And you guys have been friends for a long time through this business, I believe. Yep. But you realize that the show is going to mean a lot to both of you and to a lot of people that watch it.
So one of the hashtags we use is collaboration over competition. And one of my personal goals is not just to be the happiest person in real estate, but make real estate the happiest industry in the world. Don't laugh. Here's why. We are tasked with escorting people through one of the biggest moments of their lives. We're doing the same kind of work that your wedding officiant did, that your midwife did. We are there and we are in your business. By the way, we know the marriage dynamics. We know your financials. We are really in there and personal through a very important part of your life. And if you do it right, even if there are things that go wrong, you can have such a positive impact on their life. So we have to stop looking at this business like we're competing with everybody. Oh, yes, Sarah does not work in my company. She works right smack, like our market areas overlap. Like we actually last year went up for the same listing. And I knew it, she didn't know it. And it was kind of funny because the person referred both of us. The person who referred me had also referred her because he's like, I can't pick. They're both awesome.
That's great.
Sarah ended up getting it. Fine, great. Those people did very well. Sarah's a great agent. And I learned something from how it went too. It's fine. There's enough for all of us. And that's the thing that we have to remember as real estate agents. It doesn't matter if she did work for my company. She's still in my market area. She's still not me. So we're still competitors. Why can't we collaborate and be friends, share ideas, share strategies? You know why it doesn't matter? Because there's only one Katie Clancy.
That's right.
There's only one Joe Arno. They're either going to pick me or they're not. They're not going to pick me because I stole one of Sarah's tricks.
Right.
You know, like if you think you invented something in marketing or real estate, I got something to tell you.
No secrets in this.
There's no secrets. There's nothing new under the sun. They're going to pick you or they're not. And it's going to be
Right.
because of you, not because of some secret trick you invented. So those are my 5 things.
That's fantastic, Katie. Thank you so much for sharing all that. And I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the community. You're so involved with sharing with other realtors. What did you earn this year?
I got Realtor of the Year.
That's phenomenal.
So did you, though. Yes.
And it didn't go so smoothly in the beginning. It took you a little while to get.
No.
What is the first thing an agent should think about if they want to build a team?
Why?
Yeah, thank you. That's it. And no one can answer that. Yeah, you have to answer that yourself if you're out there. Why? And then figure out that why, and then from there.
And don't think too long about the answer. Just answer. Yeah. Why do you want to build a team? Joe, you and I talked about that. You made me answer that question. Yeah. And it's one of the best questions to ask. Why? What's your point?
Right. Fantastic. Katie, thanks so much.